everyone, welcome back to Touch the Fire Twice. I'm Joshua, and I'm here today to do an in-depth sniff and comparison review of the Bath & Body Works limited edition Candied Maple Bacon candle. But before we get into that, if you're new to Touch the Fire Twice, welcome. My mission here is to share my love and passion for fine home fragrance as an enthusiast, an educator, a reviewer, to inspire you to increase your own fragrance knowledge and understanding, ultimately enhancing the scent memories that you create. Lots of ways I go about doing that. If you want to learn more, you can check out TouchTheFireTwice.com for what I do, why I do it, how I do it. But I want to dive right into this review today. This is sort of a hot off the presses breaking news, not so much breaking news, but in the Bath & Body Works candle community, a big deal for today's launch. So Bath & Body Works just a week or two ago announced that they had 5 limited edition candles, this being the first of the 5, that they were going to do weekly drops. They've never done that before, trying to drum up additional interest to get people in stores is my guess, because these are weekly drops. They're going to announce what day of the week, whether it's every Thursday, not sure, but first one was Thursday, September 1st. And they're very limited. They're in-store only. They announce it. You have to go in. My store had 12. Not a huge store, but there were 12 at the location I shop at. And we've heard on social media that most stores get 12, 18, maybe a little bit more. But once they're gone, and then they're going to invite you to try a different candle instead in the same fragrance family, like a gourmand in this case. And so that obviously will get, the fragrance fans with their new rewards program in the store, shopping and hopefully buying more than just the candle they came in for. But that's new, certainly a weekly candle drop or a candle drop in general for Bath & Body Works. That's more like in the sneaker world or in very limited edition, high-end or handmade artisanal marketplaces, limited edition drops happen, but they're trying it, they're doing it in a new marketing, and I mean, clearly, check social media, it has worked so far for those of us who are Bath & Body Works candle fans. The 5 fragrances that they're doing these weekly drops on are Candied Maple Bacon, a combination, which I'm kind of looking forward to, of Sweater Weather and Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin, a Thanksgiving celebration candle, which I'm excited to try that because there was a Thanksgiving candle in 2012 that was bad, that hopefully this one will be nicer than that. I think Kent at the Candle Channel said it is better than that one was, at least. Then a chocolate espresso martini, jumping right on the espresso martini trend, and a salted caramel pretzel, of which they've had many iterations of over the years of Bath & Body Works, but we'll see how different that one is. But today I'm here to talk about the Candied Maple Bacon. This is a post-burn review, and I have 2 candles that I want to compare this to, most notably the unicorn candle, I suppose, from 2012, Slatkin & Co. Chocolate Bacon Cupcake, which was a failed test scent from the fall 2012 collection, alongside Roasted Pumpkin Butter, which went wide the next year, Blueberry Pumpkin Patch, which went wide the next year, Farm Apple Cookie, which failed alongside this and was really great, and a toffee glazed popcorn candle, which also failed tests. So only 2 out of the 5 made it wide. This was not one of them, and so I will compare these because these are the only 2 bacon candles that I'm aware of from Bath & Body Works over the years, a clean 10 years apart. Funnily enough, these seem to be poured literally almost to the day, 2 days apart, 10 years later. So let's dig into this. Again, I went to my store, I jumped in, they had 12 and just the 12 candles. I was able to grab this. You can see here, interesting label, very novelty, somewhat in scent, but certainly the label itself is also very novelty. As you can see, this has been, I blew this out an hour or 2 ago, so it's very slowly a color changing label, which they've also never done at Bath & Body Works. Adds to the novelty aspect of it. It starts out this sort of maroon purple, and once it is lit and burning, it turns to a bright blue, and then again, very slowly fades because the wax is clearly hardened, no longer lit, but it takes a while for the color to fade back to the original after it cools. And then this really bright metallic gold here, a little bit hard to see on camera, but says Candied Maple Bacon, Bath & Body Works. There are these little check boxes for new or vault. All 5 are new. Excited to see if they're not necessarily known for being super cohesive, so they may not have any that come in the vault, but I would hope that maybe for some launch later this year, they'll have a collection that is from the vault, because they've got a great vault to pull from, especially if they go back to the Slatkin & Co. era. And then it just says Scented Candle, limited edition 2022, and then the fragrance notes are here, which match the fragrance notes on the bottom. Notes on this: crispy bacon, maple brown sugar, and smoked applewood, okay? Sniffing this, okay, so it's not directly just that meaty bacon. So when I smell this, when you tell me it's a bacon candle, yes, makes sense. If they were doing a focus group and they had this candle with no label and they asked people to smell and describe it, I think the description, honestly, would be Campfire. There's certainly, you know, the bacon aspect to it, but bacon is typically, it is a smoked meat, and it's often smoked, as it lists here, with applewood chips or hickory or some sort of aromatic wood that imparts its flavor when it smokes the meat. In this sense, it is heavily on that, though you get a bit of that meatiness, sort of, you know, like a, I don't want to say like a dog treat, because I don't think it goes that artificial, though clearly it's, you know, synthetic, but sort of like, you know, the really condensed, kind of almost like beef jerky, like that note. So the very, let's call it umami, very intensely umami scented, which is that savory aspect. I truly don't get maple brown sugar. You know, a lot of times, you know, go to brunch, and if you get one of those crazy Bloody Marys with, you know, 8 things stuck on the top of it, more food than drink in the Bloody Mary, they'll have a maple bacon wedge sticking out of there where it's, you know, maple or maple syrup and or brown sugar were put on it before it was broiled, just to add that extra sweetness. I mean, truly they're calling it candied maple bacon, not just maple bacon, but candied maple bacon. I really don't get much sweetness from this. There's the sweetness that I get from the applewood itself, but primarily this leans very heavy, in a decent way, to the applewood. The smoked applewood, it really, to me though, it's more a campfire, sort of the burning embers, like it's just been snuffed. So think mesquite, think those wood chips, like if you were using applewood chips and a smoker, it really is that smoky scent. So not just smoked applewood, but smoky. This is a smoky fragrance to me, which, give it a little tweak here and there, a different label, a different brand, and people might think, oh, this is a truly conceptual mesquite campfire or southern campfire pit. Something that could be elevated beyond candied maple bacon. But all that to say, branding, marketing of scent is so impactful on how we interpret a blend. Savory umami mixed with campfire. So yeah, maple bacon, I can get it. I will say the burn performance, very good, as expected most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time with Bath & Body Works. Now you can see here, I had it in my Hurricane, got a full pull. You can see that the label really did start to shift to that blue on the top. Strong throw, smelled it all through my upper level. Luckily, it wasn't too overwhelming. It wasn't overly synthetic, artificial, choke you out, you know, liquid smoke kind of smell, though it's not far off from that. It didn't make you, like, it didn't turn your, you know, didn't scrunch up your nose and say, oh, what is that? But for some people, I could see it potentially being that way, if you don't like a smoky scent, because this is smoky as much or more than any other note in here for me. But comparing it, first one to compare it to, of course, this OG chocolate bacon cupcake. I really like these labels this year. Kent at the Candle Channel has often made fun, rightly so, of some of the you know, black Arial font choice here. But the one good thing was when these candles are lit, the font kind of fades and just the image sort of shines through from the photorealistic image, which I do enjoy, those kind of classic Slatkin square photo labels with silver edge, just very cohesive across the entire collections each year. Notes on this one: savory farmhouse bacon meets dark cocoa, creamy buttermilk, and rich caramel in this uncommonly delicious combination of sweet and salty scents. Now this was 2012, back when chocolate bacon was such a trend. High-end chocolatiers, Vosges, I remember in New York, it was crazy. They did Moe's salty bacon chocolate or something, and Vosges was a really nice chocolate line, but that's when it was thought of as wacky and wild. If you have a maple donut bar with a piece of bacon on top, you're crazy. It really was the trend of, you know, sort of the novelty foodie world to have bacon and maple or bacon and chocolate. And so that's where this, I imagine, came from. And it was pretty, I mean, they are quite different, because this does not have, you know, the notes are just bacon, cocoa, buttermilk, caramel. It really is a nice chocolate cupcake, and not buttercream frosting, not heavy on a fudgy chocolate. It's very different than any chocolates I've really smelled at Bath & Body Works over the years since then. Not your cocoa and cream chocolate, not, the fudgy ones, but a more dark cocoa, almost powder, like a very simple devil's food dark chocolate plain cupcake. And with that, there's a smoky essence in the background, A little different. This is more smoky applewood. The bacon note in here doesn't quite have as much of the meaty umami liquid smoke or jerky that you get from the candied maple bacon. But when you smell it, there's definitely something. It's not just a chocolate cupcake. There is that bacon on top, but it's probably like a 70-30 split of cupcake and bacon. Actually, this is a nice scent. I don't typically do much in like just the straight cupcake or chocolate cakes or birthday cake candles. But this one, if it were a little bit fresher and stronger, because I mean, we're talking 10 years old, I'm not getting the most accurate, clean sniff on it 10 years out, but it could be really nice burning. And again, the bacon is there, but it's an addition to, it's a little bit on top versus the entire candle being that. What I actually think that this smells more similar to, I don't know if a lot of folks will remember this one, but this was Campfire Cookout. This was, I believe, one of the first collections post Slatkin & Co. era partnership at Bath & Body Works. So this was poured on the 353rd day of 2012. It was a test candle, so meaning it was for sort of an early mid-spring 2013 collection, which was the Lakeside collection. So a ton of candles were in there that have, it was the first time that Watermelon Lemonade ever saw the light of day. Actually, I have a video on that from 10 years ago, basically, at this point, if you wanted to see that. A lot of candles, really cohesive collection. Love the labeling, some really great scents in it, some misses, but some really good ones as well. This was an interesting one, Campfire Cookout. Notes were, gather around the smoky scent of mesquite wood chips, clove, and a crackling fire. And this one is, I feel like I am at a barbecue pit because it is that mesquite liquid smoke. It's almost like, some like bacon strips, cheap dog treats have like kind of taken over the idea of liquid smoke, or just even mesquite, wood chips, applewood in many ways, as far as like the artificial liquid smoke scent that is in that whole arena, that oftentimes that's where a lot of us most frequently smell something like that versus, an actual barbecue pit or, barbecue joint. But it's very much your traditional mesquite. So smoky, burnt, kind of charred. It's just started smoking, or the embers. So not so much charcoal, but really those wood chips that are bringing that fragrance in the air, like incensed wood chips. Clove, crackling fire. You don't get a whole lot of clove, though. Anytime you have sort of a smoky incense, winter night sort of fragrance, you're gonna get clove, some incense, some frankincense, some patchouli. Those are often notes they put together. So I can see why they would put clove into this, because that is warming, especially when you match it with things like wood chips or mesquite, but I don't really get much clove in this. It's primarily the mesquite wood chips and maybe some dry oak wood, some sort of additional wood in there beyond the mesquite. And it smells like, campfire cookout, like you're smoking, you're bonfiring, barbecue pit, whatever it may be. And that's where these are somewhat similar. This is a little brighter, fresher, certainly again, I keep saying it, the umami savoriness that this doesn't quite have. But when it comes to that mesquite smokiness, barbecue pit, they're very similar to where they're 80% the same. Yeah, not even so much the sweetness, really just like the umami, the meatiness that's in this that this is missing, but so much of these are the exact same. Not many people probably still have this sitting around unburned. I didn't burn it just because I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but who knew 10 years later I'd be comparing it to a candied maple bacon candle. Here we are, in-depth sniff comparison review of these smoky, foodie, novelty, for the most part, candles. So that is it. One of those things, I don't know how often I burn it. It's not offensive. It's not like, oh, I don't want my house to smell like that. But if you really want your house to smell like a smoke pit, not, burning paper, but it's nice aromatic wood chips that are smoking, but it's smoky, barbecue, campfire-y nonetheless. Of course, not the sophistication of like feu de bois, a fired woods, the fragrances you're gonna get maybe at Bath & Body Works sometimes, but at your Diptyques, your Lofcos, your Nests, where you're gonna find those truly like kind of elevated campfire woods. But it's fun. I mean, with sale code, $11, it's unique, it's different, it's fun. Collect it, add it to the collection, burn it, don't burn it, have fun with it. It is what it is. Small joys and novelties that we add to our day. What's the harm in that in this day and age? So that is my in-depth sniff comparison post-burn, in this case, review of the Candied Maple Bacon Candle from Bath & Body Works. If you nabbed this, smelled it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and what you think in general of this new marketing, the weekly drop they're doing of these 5 limited edition scents at Bath & Body Works. Would love to hear your thoughts, and until next time, take care.